just a little bit, just to make sure everyone can hear me. I taught in the classroom for 8 years, and so I'm used to speaking up and talking loud, so sometimes I can do that. She alluded to it just a little bit earlier. My name is Matt Fry. I'm the Director of Communications at Liberty Iowa ISD. So I'm in central office there, up in the superintendent's office, and I'm in charge of a variety of things, basically that involves the public interfacing with the school. Somehow it's going to go through my office. I'm also in charge of all of our social media accounts, the website, and that kind of stuff. And then, coincidentally enough, I do our play-by-play on Friday nights for football too. So I've been to Atlanta several times, so I'm actually making the trip down here. I believe in kids. Yes. And people say, a lot of times people say that kids are the future of the church, and I don't think that's true. I think kids are the present of the church. Yes, sir. I think kids should be involved in what happens with the church, and I think that pouring into kids is one of the most important things that we can do. Tonight, I want to share with kids and with adults just some of the real world things that are out there. Just what's there. Some of the stuff we may not like to hear about, some of the stuff we may not like to see. But I also believe that that's what our charge is as parents. I've been married for 13 years. I've got 2 kiddos. I've got a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old. And as a father, as a husband, and as a teacher to over 1,000 kids now that have come through my classroom that I feel like are mine too, I think it's important to be able to share it, especially as churches. Ephesians 4:14 and 15 says, "We must stop acting like children. We must not let deceitful people trick us by their false teachings, which are like winds that toss us around from place to place. Love should always make us tell the truth." The truth doesn't feel good, but love should make us tell it. And this is what I believe. I believe that the biggest threat to our kids, and especially kids in their Christian walk, is not some sort of big sin that somebody tries to get them to, but I think it's just that gradual pulling away of the way God wants us to live. That gradual pulling away of godliness. And a lot of times what we see on social media and what we see in the world is what does that. It starts to desensitize us. It starts to pull us away from what we're looking at. Let's identify just a few things tonight, just so we're all on the same page. Social media, any kind of website where the users, we are the ones that put the content out there. So it's not like, NBC or CNN where you go learn from somebody else. Social media allows us to put our stuff out there. Of course, that includes Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, all sorts of them that people come through. And of course, we use it for good stuff all the time. We put pictures out there. You put your own statements. You can talk back and forth at the school. And you're going to hear, I'm not somebody that's going to come to you and say, social media is terrible, we need to get rid of it, you need to get away from it. You pull my phone out right now, there are 15 social media accounts that I manage. They come through. It's very valuable. We share information. We talk back and forth with parents. I talk to people that I went to school with, and I look and go, man, I hope I didn't get that old and fat and ugly. And then sometimes I did. But it just happens. I don't know. It just happens to everybody. But it's not inherently a terrible thing. Okay? It's just how are we using it and how are we allowing it to affect our lives. In Liberty, Iowa, we did a survey of 650 students. And so the numbers that I'm going to share with you are specific to that. But it's going to be the same wherever you go. It's going to be about what the kids are. So we asked our kids, what device do you use to get online? What device do you use to get on? 94% of them get on with their phone, 33% on a laptop, 28% through their gaming system. You may not even know they can access certain social media through their gaming system. 24% on a tablet. Okay, so where are most kids getting this stuff? Right here, on their own phone. We use it all the time. Before we were here, I was texting my family, letting them know what was going on, all that kind of stuff. What platforms are kids on? 69% on Snapchat, 69% on Instagram, only 30% on Facebook. Why do you think it's such a low number? Because that's where the adults are, right? They don't want to be on there. All right, 15% on Twitter. 13% say they use no social media. What's interesting about this, we did this survey from 5th grade through 12th grade. And up before we were involved with 5th graders, we had a lot more, not nearly as many that were in none, but once you got to 5th grade, we had some that started to put some of the none in there. Other things that they use, WhatsApp, Tumblr, YouTube, all these different ones. Some of them you may not have heard of. Those are all answers that we got on the survey. Ask the kids, how often do you access social media? Of course, what probably everybody knows, multiple times a day, 72%. They're on there constantly. I can tell you that just by watching stuff that goes on in the school. kids are. That's where they're at every day when they're out there. Next question. Does your parent or guardian monitor your social media accounts? That's the part that as parents, there's really not an excuse. I don't think as parents you would give your kids anything else that's dangerous. Brings these conversations, and we don't have those conversations, so they don't even know what's going on there. But there are a lot of reasons that you need to know and you need to monitor. But just beyond anything else that we're going to talk about, one of those is just legally. In the state of Texas, we have something called David's Law. It was Senate Bill 179 in the last legislature. And what David's Law says, and it's specific especially to schools, is that schools have a responsibility to discipline problems that happen on social media, even if it doesn't happen at school. Which is crazy to think about, that all of a sudden, now they tell us as school districts, you have to take care of what these kids are doing out of school. But just today, this day, I had a grandmother in my office who was upset because her child had been disciplined, but it was stuff that started on Snapchat at home that bleeds over into causing drama and fights at school. And there's not a kid out here that hasn't seen something like that happen, I can promise you. Where somebody gets involved with something, and this person's being messy, and this person's saying this, and all of a sudden they're into it, and they get into a problem at school. And so one, it should get in trouble at school. The second thing, though, is, and the reason it's called David's Law, David was a young man that was bullied to the point that he killed himself. Now, as parents, you can be held criminally responsible for what your kids do with their phone. Why? Because you own that, and they're a minor, and you're their guardian. I want to say that again. You can be held as a parent criminally responsible for what your kids do online and social media. So when you go back to the 61% that say for some reason or another I'm not monitoring social media, there's not really a good excuse for that. And I sure wouldn't want to look at any parent out here and say, well, I hate that your kid got bullied enough that they ended up, not being here anymore. Because there's no answer that you could give a parent why that was okay. But it's just what's out there. And I think it's important for us to know that. So that's David's Law. Next thing, how do students use it? Do you ever share identifiable information? Your real age, name, address? 68% of them said they don't. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but still some of them do. But that's because in the schools, we have to tell them not to do that. They have to go through training all the way from when they're in 4th grade all the way up. You can see almost 91% of the kids know that you're not supposed to do that. But surely none of us are naive enough to believe that just because kids know what they're supposed to do, that they do it. All right? I don't know that anybody could tell us if that's true. So it's not a problem that we don't know. It's just, for some reason, there's a disconnect there. For some reason, between parents and kids and what happens in the real world, we're getting into problems that we shouldn't have to get into. Of course, social media, like I said, it's not all bad. You can socialize, you can connect globally, be able to talk to family members that are over in the military in Afghanistan and across the world doing stuff. You can get information quickly. You don't have to wait on a newspaper to be thrown at your house in the morning anymore. You already know. Usually by the time it comes out in the newspaper, it happened 3 days ago. Right? Of course, you keep up with friends, you document your life. I mean, that's also where most people get their news and information nowadays, especially most people under the age of 40. Some of the issues, though, is that it doesn't take much before all of a sudden a post goes viral and you have major problems. There's cyberbullying, like we talked about with David's Law, like some of the stuff we got with today. Also, and this is one of those things, how many of you, especially if you're on Facebook, every once in a while, every few months, you'll see something and somebody copies and pastes and it says, you're hereby notified that as of tomorrow, all my stuff is private and you have no right to look at my stuff, and Facebook can't use it. Let me tell you, none of that's true. You're using their site for free. You can't tell them what they can and can't see. And if stuff's in Messenger, if stuff's in any messaging app, if stuff's even on your phone through that, there's nothing that's private. There's nothing that can't be accessed. We had to deal with a couple of years ago, pretty high-level threats that somebody made at the school, and I'm sitting down in the office of the FBI in the basement at the courthouse in downtown Texarkana, and I was talking to the FBI agent. I said, well, this is the kid's account, but it's locked. I said, but I know how to get into it if you need to, and he said, oh, no, we can do that. So it's not a question. It's not there. So this is just good for adults to know also. If it's on here and it's connected to the internet, somebody can see it. I don't care what it is. And also, when something's there, it's there forever. Just because it's deleted doesn't mean it's gone. There are a lot of websites you can go to now, and it has a little tool that you can go in through Google, and you can see that from the day that website was built all the way until now, what it looked like at different times. So, it doesn't disappear. The next thing that's pretty dangerous is predators. Watch this video.
This next girl, her name is Juliana. She's 12 years old, and we're supposed to meet up tonight when her father falls asleep. Right now, I'm here with John, who's Juliana's father. We're going to see if she's actually going to come to the door or not. She said this was the last text. LOL, I would have to wait till my dad falls asleep to chill, because I can't have voiceovers. She wants to chill tonight, supposedly. I don't think she's open the door. I hope she'll open that door. What's your address? I don't know. She doesn't say what's wrong with the door. I can't say the address, but she just literally just takes the address. Start jumping to the address. My dad's going to drop me off. Alright, so she just said, I think my dad fell asleep and he coming out. On the way? Yes. Outside, going to the front door.
He does a variety of videos. He did all of that with the parents' permission. You can tell. He has videos with girls, with boys. It goes all the way across the spectrum. So it's not like it was just a few that did that, but just showing what these kids do. You see the dad, he already says, we already lost your mother. What would I have done if something happened to you? And here's the deal. That was a prank that somebody pulled. That was something that wasn't real, but it very well could have been. You know, and that stuff you can tell by the way they got taught. They're up in the Bronx or somewhere like that. But this was just here. This is from TXK today. This was in Maud, Texas. Everybody know where that is? Just 10 miles away. Little girl goes missing, a 10-year-old girl. Nobody knows where she is. They're trying to find out where this girl went. They don't know where she is. And then a little bit later, we see this. So the 10-year-old girl, I'm going to go back to here. The 10-year-old girl met another adult online through an app. She agreed to meet up with him. This guy went and picked her up for the other guy and then told her, hey, I can't take you to his house tonight. I'm going to take you back to my house and all that. And I'm not going to go into details of everything that happened on here because of our audience in the room tonight. But major issues, and you can see what he was charged with on the next on the other screen there. But that's happening right here, right there online. 10-year-old, my daughter's 10. That's 5th grade. Why did nobody know what was happening on that phone? How can you go meet somebody from Oklahoma and come in here? Now, here's the other side of that. That young man on the next screen, I know him. He was one of mine. That kid's been in my house to have dinner. He grew up with a loving family, and he grew up knowing right from wrong, and he grew up, and it's not that you just look and say, well, that's just some kind of... No, see, he did something evil and violent, and it's going to haunt him for the rest of his life. He probably won't be back out as a free man, but you can't just look at somebody and say, oh, well, I know these people. Oh, well, I'm just talking to people I know. Well, it's just people that are... It's a true story. This came up on the screen, and you can ask my wife. I sat there and I said, and I'm not going to say his name, but I mean, she knew him. So think about his family and the girl's family and all that, everybody that's ruined from something that somebody, well, we just didn't know any better. There are other ways that this can affect you. I know we got some athletes in here. This young man, I'm going to show a video for highly recruited athlete. He had several offers. He got an idea to start making videos that go out on Facebook, just be on shooting on YouTube, just out being funny and that kind of stuff. And I want you to listen to him tell his story.
Down to a community. I'm only making this video for educational purposes only. I want to educate, and I really want to reach out to my younger boys who play football. I really want them to understand that this is real. It's the really this isn't something that people, it's not something that people just talk. This is real. Social media is real. You can really take everything you worked hard for away. In a brief second, just like that, everything's gone. So I'm not gonna go into deep. Sorry about that. I'm not gonna go into deep detail about what happened, but I'm gonna just give you a gist of what was happening and how it happened. So basically, a while back, I came on an idea where I wanted to start my own YouTube channel. This was maybe about 4 or 3 months ago. I really want to be active on YouTube and really start a YouTube career. So, I really got the idea of doing story times from Pretty Boy Fredo. Pretty Boy Fredo, inspired me to start story time and start talking about funny experiences and stuff that I've been doing in my life. And I feel like I could have generated that into a funny way to make a video about it, to entertain people. But the way I went about it was totally unprofessional. The way I handled it, was terrible. I got on social media, I got on YouTube, I was cussing, I was saying profanity, I was saying inappropriate words, I was saying slurs that you're not supposed to say, I was saying the N-word, I was saying the B-word, all of that. All the words you're not supposed to say, only those words you say with your friends, not something you say over the internet where college coaches and scouts can see. Basically, it was just one video that stuck out to a lot of people. It was actually getting a lot of attention. I made 4 videos. Now, 3 out of the 4, they got attention, but it wasn't a lot. It wasn't really like getting up there. But it was just one video that everybody watched. It literally hit 1K in a week.
You hear what he kept saying? It was one video. It was just one video that turned into that. I've been pretty fortunate in my career in dealing with kids and athletes. I've had several kids that were in my class that went on, played Division I sports, went on to professional sports. I got to sit in on a Skype interview because I set up the technology on my computer. A young man being recruited by Alabama, and I was sitting in on a Skype interview, and he said he was going to be talking to Nick Saban, and I said, well, I'm going to stay in the room then, because you don't get to sit there and listen to those kind of guys like that. So I sat there in the room, but one of the first things he talked about, he said, we keep up with you. He said, as soon as we give you an offer, we have a coach that it's their responsibility to follow all your social media and see what you're doing. And you see the stuff that's going on now in college and some of the environments that are happening on campus, and schools are very careful about who they have wearing that name across their chest. And so you have this here, a young man, and you can tell just by listening to him. Sounds like a sharp young man, has it together. Just thought he was doing something that really not a lot of people were going to see. But what happened? One video, he said, went viral, went big, and the coaches said, hey, we can't have you representing our school. That's a life-changing moment. And the problem is, when we were that age, I didn't want videos everywhere what I was doing. We're probably the same way regardless of what was going on. And it is a little bit unfair with kiddos these days, because they're growing up in an environment that we've never dealt with, but also we as parents have never dealt with that, and we as leaders have never dealt with that, and so it's hard to speak into that. And so a lot of the times the easiest thing to do is just to kind of ignore it and say, well, I don't know anything about it, so I can't be a part of it. And we can't do that. Somebody needed to be following this young man and say, hey, not going to happen. We use our Twitter account quite a bit at the school to highlight a lot of our athletes, because we have a lot of recruitment agencies and college coaches and stuff that follow our Twitter, and we tag kids on there when we can. But we tell them, we're going to follow your stuff and see what's there, because if you're into stuff that we don't want to associate with school, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to come talk to you. And I've had conversations with kids, and some of them need to know who I was. Why are you talking to me? Oh, well, this is how your decisions have impacted my life on this Tuesday. Let's talk about this, just the psychological effects. Since in 2012 is the first time that over 50% of people had an iPhone. So 7 years ago is really the first time that we've been saturated enough where people have smartphones in their hand. So we don't know how to deal with this. Even when I went to college, I'm not that old, I'm 38. I know some of you think that's super old. Some of you think it's not old at all, but you know, when I went to college, the computer that I took to college had about 1/8 of the capability that this phone does. None of this stuff even existed until just 7 years ago when that was here. But now, since that time, 1 in 5 kids have been diagnosed with a mental illness, 43% increase in ADHD, 37% increase in teen depression, 100% suicide rate in kids ages 10 to 14. If you don't think Satan is making a concerted effort to attack our kids, we got to open our eyes. And it's every day. Because so much of what they see and so much of what they're being told in here is that you've got to be this way, and if you're not, you have no value. You've got to be this, you've got to be doing this, you've got to be part of this, and if you don't have any value. You know, it used to be you could go over to your friend's house and just hang out all the weekend. It didn't really matter what you looked like and all that. But now all of a sudden somebody gets you in the wrong picture and you're looking crazy and they start sharing it around. Everybody's making fun of you. And so you're on edge all the time. Or you're in the cafeteria and if you slip and fall down or something crazy happens, all of a sudden now it's a GIF on Snapchat and everybody's laughing and what's going on. And now all of a sudden you're embarrassed by something that 15 years ago would have been 30 seconds of, man, y'all remember Mr. Friday fell down in the cafeteria? That was funny. And then it went on. But now all of a sudden it's on there forever. You're a meme going across the world. So what can we do? The first thing is, what can you do? Here's what we know that kids need. We need parents that are emotionally available. We need limits and guidance. And that's one of the things that we miss for sure. Kids need responsibilities. Kids may not want to think, wait a minute, I'll listen to this man anymore. Balanced nutrition and adequate sleep, movement and outdoors, creative play, social interaction, opportunity. Here's the deal. This is from a lady named Victoria Prude. This isn't a church lady. This isn't a Christian lady. This is just people, it's in the secular world. They're saying this is what kids need to be healthy. And instead what we have parents that are digitally distracted. How many of you times have been out at a restaurant and you see everybody at the table doing like this? Parents, kids, all that. You have indulgent parents who let kids rule the world. A sense of entitlement rather than responsibility. We see that every day. Inadequate sleep and unbalanced nutrition. Sedentary indoor lifestyle. While we're just sitting there inside, we don't want to get out. We don't want to get out and play. I know my kids, they think that that's just like, no, go outside. You got bicycles? We got a lot of grass? Go on. Don't you? My kids know they're not ever, they won't tell me they're bored. Because I got a lot of acres and a lot of trees. There's a lot of sticks that need to be picked up. We can find you something to do. So if anybody else gets bored, you can come on too. I'll let you come on to my house. And they have endless stimulation, technological babysitters, instant gratification, and an absence of dull moments. Kids, from the time, and a lot of people think it's cute, man, my 2-year-old can open my phone, they know how to do all the things, all the kind of stuff. Well, they're going to be 5 and they don't know their name. And I know that because they come to school. So what do we need to do? One, we got to communicate. This is kids and this is parents both. You got to communicate. You got to talk to each other. That's what it is. Second, check the privacy settings on your kids' social media accounts. And if you don't know how to do this, get on Google and find out. Educate yourself. If this is what my kids are on, what do I need to know as a parent? I'm going to give you some paperwork up here, and it goes through Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those things, how they work, what are some of the things you can do on them, real practical stuff. But all that's going to change. Every few months, the kids are going to jump from one thing to one thing to one thing. That's a big part of what my job is just trying to keep up with what's there. Explain the importance of not giving out personal information. There are kids that come out of high school with no credit whatsoever because all of a sudden their stuff's been used and out. Teach proper use of social media. Social media isn't going to go anywhere. All right? We can either become Amish or we can learn how to deal with it. That's pretty much the only two options that I see. And I'm not real good at farming, so I got to figure out how to deal with it. And then this is very important. Educate yourself. It's your responsibility. You know, as parents, I don't think we rely on the church to teach our kids everything they need to know about their life with the Lord, or we shouldn't. While we're studying God's Word, we're praying, we're doing that. This is the same thing. Because if you rely on the world to tell the kids how they should act and how they should live and what they should be involved in, the world's going to tell them all day long. There's no problem. The world has no problem trying to conform your kids to match their ideas of morality and their ideas of what's right and wrong. And as parents, if we don't stand in that gap, that's what we're told to do. So the question is, how much time is social media consuming? This is for kids and adults. We do a leadership camp every year at the school, and this last year we did it on one day, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We told all the kids, all right, everybody's got to turn your phones in until in the morning. There were people crying because they were going to lose their Snapchat streaks. Because somebody convinced them, somebody decided that's an important thing. You know nobody pays you for that? That was one scary part about it, but then somebody else said, no, if my boyfriend tries to call me and can't get a hold of me, he's going to be mad at me and he's going to yell at me again and all that. Tell him to call Mr. Fry. We'll have to lay it on the hands. Second question is, what messages are the norm? You see, if you see a lot of stuff in social media and in the media in general today and what's coming out of everywhere, they're telling you that if you believe that Jesus is God's son and there's one way to heaven, there's something wrong with you. If you believe that you have to live morally right, that you have any right to say this is what's good and this is what's bad, there's something wrong with you. You can't do that. That's what the world wants us to believe. It wants to change what's normal. It wants to change what the Bible says is right and wrong. And to me, you start getting away from that, I don't want to be with you. How does what we're reading align with biblical truth? So the question is, who are you allowing to speak into your child's life? You send them to school 8 hours a day, you don't know a lot of what's going on there. And then if they're spending the next 8 hours on here, who's talking to them? Romans 12:2 says, don't be like the people of this world, but let God change the way you think. Another way it says is, don't be conformed to this world. It says, then you will know how to do everything that is good and pleasing to Him. In Galatians 1:10, it says, I'm not trying to please people, I want to please God. Do you think I'm trying to please people? If I were doing that, I wouldn't be a servant of Christ. It's just what it says. And I believe that that's what it says, and that's what it is. But we're taught that it's that. And who are you allowed to be there? Would you, if you're a parent, and I think about, my own 10-year-old, or even if she's 14 or 15, am I going to allow her and a boy to go in a room together and close the door and just be in there? Not in my house. Now, there may be some houses that it happens, but how many of those same ones that would say this isn't going on or whatever, you let them go in the room with a phone, you have no idea what's going on. My daughter tells me all the time, everybody in my class has a phone. I said, not everybody, because I know one that don't. And she knows now she has one of my wife's old phones that she uses at home. It's not on a plan or anything. She can get on and take pictures and that kind of stuff. But that phone, even though it doesn't connect to anything, it charges on my nightstand right next to mine. Why? That's because as a 10-year-old, she knows that that's where my phone goes. Because when she's 16 and it communicates with somebody, she's going to know that's where my phone goes. What else does she know? She knows that I put a 4-digit passcode on that phone and that's how she gets into it. And the first time I type in that 4-digit code and it doesn't work, she don't know it anymore. When she first got it, she thought I was joking. 8 months later, we tried it again. Did you grow up in it? Well, because here's the deal. As a parent, I can answer questions all day long. If she asks me why she can't do that, I can answer questions all day long. I'll give an account for it. I'll be the parent that's not cool. I'll do all that kind of stuff. But as a parent, I can't look at my child and say, I really should have taught you better. I'm sorry that now you've been ruined for life because of something happened. There's not a reason that I can give that it's okay. And so you think about, you want to know why I think it's important? Look around this room. Look at the kids in this room. That's why, because in 30 years, some of us won't be here and some of us won't feel like being here. And these kiddos that are here, they're going to be the ones that are leading it. And if we don't invest in them, and if we don't prepare, and people always talk about, I'm really concerned about the world I'm leaving for my children. Well, you know what I want to do? I want to try to build my children to change the world. Because I can't control what happens in most places, but I can control what happens at 1305 George Thomas Road. I can't control what happens everywhere, but the influence that I have at Liberty Iowa, I try to make whatever difference I can in the policies we put in and the training we do with our teachers. I can't change everybody and I can't reach everybody, but when a pastor says, hey, we'd like you to come on a Wednesday and drive down the street, if I can do it and somebody will listen, I'm going to be there. Because that's the responsibility that I think all of us have. Because I can answer that all day long and why we do it. And we can talk about statistics and we can talk about numbers and we can say, well, if we increase it by this percentage or this percentage, but even 99.9% can't be good. You know why? If 99.9% of the flights in and out of DFW Airport in Dallas worked out every day, if 99.9% of them, there'd still be 3 plane crashes a day. And nobody would get on a plane. And it would be unacceptable, and it would be on CNN and everywhere, and what's the problem, and why can't they fix it? And then we hear stuff about teenage suicide going up 100%, and we say, well, that's terrible, I wish somebody would do something about it. Where if it was plane crashes, we'd be knocking on the doors of the FAA. We'd be making major changes to what we do in this country. And I venture to guess that our kiddos need to be that important to us. It needs to make that much of a difference to us. So that a few practical things to look at where we educate ourselves. We talked about social media. What about online gaming? You see, when I was growing up, I had a Nintendo. It was awesome, and I was excited about it. It had a little power pad, and you run back and forth on the power pad. But then I was a little chubby kid, and I was like, I'm going to need a game that you sit down with. I would like to be able to eat nachos while I play, and I can't do that with a power pad. But it was a thing. It was a game. You go in your room, you buy a cartridge, you put it in there, it doesn't work, you blow on it, you put it in there again. And then...
All right.
And at the end of the day, you turn it off, and that was it. But the games now that are online, it's not a game, it's a place. It's a place where kids go because you go and you put on a headset and you can talk to each other and you can communicate with people that are out there. And there's ways to put in changes on that and what you can do, but see, the difference in a place and a game is this. When I was younger and I was playing a game, my parents said, what game are you playing? Oh, it's one of the games that I purchased for you, so I know what it is and it's that. But if I was going somewhere, they're going to start asking different questions. Where are you going? What are y'all doing? Who's going to be there? Who's going to be part of it? You know? And when we get into the online gaming, it's the same thing. Because if I talk to them and say, well, I'll be over there with my friends, but then also my friend's Uncle Kevin's going to be there, and he likes to talk crazy, and he likes to talk about girls, and he taught me a whole lot of things that I sure didn't know before. My parents said, you ain't going over there? But we walk by and see him with a headset on and have no idea. I could have brought that on YouTube to show you some of the stuff from that, but then everybody would have to leave the room. So it's a place that we should ask the same questions the same way. Texting, FaceTime, messaging, the same thing. Do people have private access to your children that you don't know anything about? You wouldn't just drop your kids off somewhere, I don't think. But you give them a phone and there, you have no idea what's there. You have FaceTime on, you're 100% live. You can do everything but touch each other. And then screenshots and one breakup later, and everything's all in the school. And then fake news and hoaxes. This is also something that's dividing a lot of our country. You would blow your mind, the crazy stuff that I see. And now the interesting thing is, the biggest age group that this affects is people over 65. As a matter of fact, they're almost 7 times more likely to post fake news articles than any other age group. But we've been taught just to believe whatever we see.
Trolling.
And so, when fake stuff comes and you don't know what's real, one, you start thinking that the person that lives in your town that looks different than you, there's something, they must be the devil. And we're constantly taught to be separated and pulled apart. And I read news stories about what's going on in this country, and that doesn't look like the country that I live in. It doesn't look like where I teach every day. It doesn't look like my own family. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that I'm related to people that look like me, and I'm related to people that look like you. And I walk into my school every day, and I'm blessed the fact that my kids walk into an environment where they're comfortable with everybody from every background. But you start reading stories where people have access to be able to put out and put a story of whatever they want and spew whatever hatred they want and whatever division they want and whatever, and all this stuff that is completely against what God wants us to be. Because if somebody shares something and it says that just because you look this way and you look this way that you have to be enemies with each other, that's not from God. I'm just going to let you know. And I read somebody said one time, well, it's going to be funny when these racists get to heaven and they're sitting in a mansion right next to somebody that don't look like them. And I said, I don't think they're going to be there. But that's just the way I believe. Sometimes I just say what I believe. Psalms 127, 3-5 says, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward for him. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. They will not be put to shame when they contend with their opponents in court. You know what I think that says? I think that's God telling us as parents, as leaders, as educators, the power to change the world is in these kids. The power to make a difference, the power to heal division, the power to heal evil and to drive it out is in these kids. But they got to have somebody on their side. They got to have somebody protecting them. They got to have somebody saying, enough is enough, and I'm going to take my responsibility seriously. It's a daunting task. There's a lot of this stuff it's hard to keep up with, and I get paid to do it. I understand, but we have to educate ourselves. We don't have a choice. Again, the booklets that I have up here, we'll start with. We should have enough for everybody. If not, we can at least get one per family to start, and then we can go from there. But again, it has all these color sheets. It'll tell you about everything that's out there, at least right now, that we can learn about, all the way down to Fortnite and If you're wondering why you see kids walking around and they look like they start having a seizure, it's because they're trying to dance and match what's going on in Fortnite. Especially kids that look like me that have no business trying to dance. Just being real. This picture here, that's what I showed when we were at my church. The girl in the pink is mine. The boy in the middle of the picture is mine. It's people that are friends of mine and all that kind of stuff. And why? It's not okay with me to look at any parent and say, well, we didn't go with 99% of them. I'm sorry, yours was the one. Well, 99 of them were okay. I'm sorry that yours was the one. I read a story about somebody chasing after one that said 99. And I think that's what he wants us to do. We don't have a right to be ignorant about things. We don't have a right just to pretend it doesn't exist. We don't have a right to say, well, we'll let the schools teach it. We got to be parents. We got to be churches. I think we got to be schools. I think that's something we need to do. But there's some people that work in schools that are crazy. I'll just let you know. Some people think it's neat. But I love kids. I love the future that they represent. That's why we're here. I hope some of this helped you. I hope it was informative. I hope it left you with more questions than you came here with. I sure wasn't naive enough to think that I could come here and answer all your questions. My goal was to leave you some more. I will take questions if you have any specific that I may can answer. Oh, the kids are all stuff on there you worry about your parents seeing. I was sitting at lunch with somebody one day and I pulled up trying to see where my wife was, and we have an app on my phone. I can see where her phone is. I can see where mine is. He said, wait a minute, your wife can see where your phone is? I said, yeah. He said, that doesn't bother you? I said, no, because I'm not ever anywhere that I don't want my wife knowing that's where I am. All right. And that's the way, I don't know if my kids will think that way, but that's how their phones are going to be. They may not like it. That's what it is. There's apps you can get as parents that your kid's phone won't do anything until they text you back. There's Live 360. Yep. Live 360. At your house, there's a thing you can put on your Wi-Fi router called Disney Circle. You can control time. You can control certain websites. You can control online gaming where it only allows so much time and it goes from there and it just turns off when it's done. It's called Disney Circle. There are tools out there. Now here's the other side that I'll tell you about that. We have a $5 million network infrastructure in Liberty, Iowa, and our kids every day find some kind of way to try to get around it. That's just what they do. We track them down, but every day you go and you try to find something else. We just installed a program that monitors all traffic that goes across our network, which is nice. So if a kid is on there, on their phone, on the Wi-Fi at all, which we have, our kids can be on our Wi-Fi. I don't know how that is in some places, but they can be on ours. But we had to send it to our staff as well, because if it goes through our Wi-Fi and it flags things like bullying or calling people's names or profanity or kids saying stuff about how they don't want to be alive anymore and they want to get rid of them, it's going to send me an email. It's going to send our tech director an email. And some people are like, I just don't know. Y'all are just invading people's privacy. Again, I can answer those questions all day long. I can't tell a parent, well, we knew your kid was having trouble and I hate that they killed themselves this weekend, but we just didn't want to interfere. I can't say that. So that's on there, but again, you're just trying to keep up with what's there. So as parents, look for those things that you can find. Look for what's there. Take some of this. You can reach out to me at the school if you have specific questions or if you have any after this. But again, Pastor, I appreciate you opening your pulpit. I do not take it lightly. I appreciate all of you being here. You're a very attentive audience. And do you mind if we pray before we end this night? Go to the next thing. God, I just thank you for this day, and I thank you for everyone in this room and what they represent. I thank you for the collective futures that sit in this room, the world changers that sit in this room. God, I thank you at your word when you say that our steps are ordered by you. I thank you at your word when you say your plans for us are to prosper us and to have a hope and a future. And because I believe that our role as parents and as churches and in schools is to serve as protectors and guiders for our kids. God, I pray for the hearts and minds of these young people in here, that the constant bombardment where they're told that you're not good enough and you've got to be this way and you've got to be this way, I pray that you constantly bring to their mind what you say about them and how much more important that is than what the world says about them. God, I pray for divine protection, but I also pray for divine doors to be open. You have a plan for every kid in this room. And whether they're world leaders or home leaders or job leaders, they can impact the world for you. I pray that you guard their hearts, you guard their minds, you help them continually to seek after you, and you lead us here in safety. I pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Come on, put your hands together. This man who's killed. Amen. We came here to love on the children and the family. Amen. And that's just an amazing thing for someone to give up their time and talent. And I know what it's like for the wolf to come in your house. I know what that's like. But it used to be just locking your door to keep the wolf out. But now the wolf comes in through the socket in the wall. And we need to be aware of what's in our homes and what's going with our kids to school. You can actually set up where your children's TV, where they can only watch so much TV and it'll cut off. Look, are we trying to bash children? No, we love children, but most children say, well, how you saying you love me and you want to cut my stuff off? It's because I want you to have something more than a young man, and I ain't knocking the young men because we got some awesome young men, but a young man that is validating you by telling you he loves you, and he don't know Jesus. Amen. How can he love you if he don't know Jesus? And if you think love is sending him a picture of you, and then all of a sudden everybody in the school has that same picture, then I need you to know that's not love. You are daughters of the King. And if you are daughters of the King, then you ought to have respect for yourself. And so having respect for yourself, look, those things that we might send back and forth and we think that thing is cute, look, when it starts showing up, all of a sudden our heads are dropping. But mama and daddy are trying to keep you from going through those heartaches. And let me just tell you, it's some hard times out here. You can send something to my phone thinking that I might want to see it. And I can get caught with it on my phone and go to jail. If you get something on your phone that is not appropriate, delete it. And ask them not to send anything else. But it's amazing. Parents, I want you to just simply be careful. Just be careful. Because the wolf is steady trying to find a way to get into your house. I was in the yard here one day, and a little boy about this tall, when we first got the internet, walked up to me and told me, Pastor, I know what the password is to your internet. And he told me what the couldn't do his timetables, but he could tell me what my password was. So I'm saying to you, it's some dangerous stuff out there. And I thank this gentleman for taking time to put this program together to make us aware. But I also, I really wanted to take some time to speak to the young men and young women about not having to be validated by someone who don't know anything. If you listen to your pastor or your parents, you already have worth. You don't need anyone to validate you. When you looked in the mirror, you liked what you saw. Amen. And just because somebody else don't care for it, what do they know? If you're a child of the King, walk like it. Amen. Amen. Pastor, did you want to have a word? No. Amen. Amen. Sister Nelson or Minister Crenshaw?
I am thankful. All I had to do was call Mr. Fry. He didn't know me from Adam, but I told him what it was that we designed. Yes, ma'am, I can come. I am truly thankful and elated that you love me enough without even knowing me to come share what you told us today to better equip us as a church, as leaders, as parents, as our children. I know they may not like everything, but that's all right. That's why we are parents. Okay? We ain't got to be our kids' friends, but we should be their parents. I'll be your friend.
I know you got a youth director over here with you. Amen. Amen. I want to say thank you, Shiloh, for coming out. Amen. It blessed me when they told me you were coming. Because, amen. God bless you. Again, to all the parents, thank you for coming. You know, it's time out for us sending our babies to places that we don't know what's going on with them. Because the truth is, they will do some things that we think they won't do. Amen. And amen. I'm gonna leave it right there. Come on, sister.
I'd like to say thank you again to Mr. Fry. Thank you so much for his blessing. Amen. When I was a kid, I used to make mud pies. Anybody know what mud pies is? Let's take it out. But anyway, I played outside. Yes, I did. But I'm so thankful, and I thank God for it. I thank God for Pastor Nelson and Sister Nelson. I thank God for Pastor Maxie and Sister Maxie, First Lady Maxie, for coming out. Mr. Murphy, Elder Johnson, Deacons, thank you all. Thank you, Minister Boyce, thank you for coming out. We do have refreshments, compliments of Pastor Maxie, and then some of the leaders came in, so we have just a little light snack. Amen.
Feel just like a rock star.